Hi, kindergarten. It's Mrs. Griffith. Happy Thursday. Kindergarten, I don't know if you know. I'm wondering if you know what special day is coming up this weekend. Does anybody know? This weekend, it is going to be Mother's Day on Sunday. And Mother's Day, as you know, is a day that is set aside to honor our moms. We talked about how the whole month of May is set aside to honor our Heavenly Mother, Mary. Well, Mother's Day is one day in May that everyone in the United States takes some special time out to remember and think about and show their moms some love. And so we're going to be talking about how we're going to do that. It's a little hard for us to do that in the way normally we would do because we aren't at school together. But I've got some plans going, and I'll let you know about those a little later. But I wanted to share with you today one of my favorite books that I love to read to you in the year, and it is called The Mother's Day Mice. And this book is by one of our favorite authors, Eve Bunting. We've read several stories by Eve Bunting this year. Remember, we read That's What Leprechauns Do in March. And we read The Valentine Bears in February, and we all loved those books. Remember, Mrs. Bear set her alarm clock ahead 3 months so she could get up and surprise Mr. Bear on Valentine's Day. Remember, they were hibernating, but then he surprised her. That was really fun. And if you remember, on that book, The Valentine's Day Bears, Eve Bunting worked with another author that we all know, Jan Brett. Yeah, Jan Brett, who wrote The Mitten and The Gingerbread Baby and so many books. And Jan Brett works with Eve Bunting on this book, The Mother's Day Mice, not as the author, but the illustrator. So Jan Brett did the pictures for this story. And you'll notice that her style is really different in this book. In her books where she is the author, remember, she does that style where she has the side pictures over here. And she shows you on the side what's going to happen, what happened before. And then on the other side, there's a little picture and she shows you what's going to happen next. She has a very distinct style, but when she works as an illustrator for other authors, she doesn't use that style, which is kind of fun and interesting to see her work differently. So this is called The Mother's Day Mice by Eve Bunting and Jan Brett as the illustrator. And these, we're going to meet some little mice who are thinking about how are they going to tell their mom that they love her so much. And I know you're thinking about that at your house too. So here's the title page, The Mother's Day Mice. Biggest little mouse wakened first. It was early morning and still almost dark. He tugged gently on the whiskers of Middle Mouse, who slept next to him. "It's Mother's Day," he whispered. "Time to get up and go for our presents." Middle Mouse tugged gently on the whiskers of Little Mouse, who slept between him and the wall. "Mother's Day," he whispered. They crept out of bed and they tiptoed past Mother's room. There's lots of juicy details in these pictures to see. Outside, one star still slept in the sky. They stopped to wash paws and faces in the pail of water Mother kept by the front door. Biggest studied his watch. We have 2 hours before Mother wakes up. Middle and I know what we're getting for her and where to find it. He looked at Little Mouse and waited. I know what I'm getting too, Little Mouse said. Honeysuckle. Biggest shook his head. Little Mouse, honeysuckle grows only on Honeysuckle Cottage, and we know who lives in Honeysuckle Cottage. You'll have to get something else for Mother. Little Mouse wanted to argue, but Biggest was already lining them up, one behind the other. Hold tails and be quiet as we go, he said. The dark has dangers for little mice. They ran across the meadow. Little Mouse liked the tough, smooth feel of his brother's tail. He thought the three of them joined together must be as long as a snake. He didn't want to think about snakes, though. The edges of the sky were streaked with morning. A red fox passed them on his way home. They crouched till the white tip of his tail disappeared in the trees. Grrr, Little Mouse said fiercely. Who's afraid of him? But his voice was weak, and he couldn't really hear it even himself. An owl sheared above them as they lay hidden in the long grass. Little Mouse kept his eyes tight closed. If he couldn't see the owl couldn't see him. You didn't have to squeeze my tail so hard, Middle Mouse told him when they stood up. I thought you might be frightened, Little Mouse said. I was telling you I was here. Middle Mouse sniffed. So there are some dangers out in the world for these little mice, aren't there? They have to be very careful. A strawberry patch grew at the edge of the meadow. There's my surprise for Mother, Middle Mouse said. She loves strawberries. She says the first one tastes of summer coming. Biggest Mouse boosted him so he could get the roundest, reddest berry from the top. Its weight tipped him backwards as he carried it. So if you think of a little mouse carrying a really big, ripe strawberry, that might be kind of hard for him, huh? My surprise is here too, Biggest Mouse said. He picked a dandelion fluff ball and held it high by its milky stem. It's a wish flower for Mother. Little Mouse thought the fluff ball was as beautiful as a spinning of spider's webs. He could see the sky through it. Mother will love it, Little Mouse said. Now, can we go for the honeysuckle? We have time, and maybe he won't be there. Biggest Mouse sighed. We'll go look, but only because you're the littlest and it's Mother's Day, and we won't go close. Cat is always there. So, there's a cat in this story. Cat was there. He lay on the porch of Honeysuckle Cottage, monstrously big, monstrously black. When he yawned, his mouth was a dark, spiked cave. Little Mouse could see it clearly, even though they weren't too close. Maybe he'll leave soon, Little Mouse whispered. He pulled his eyes away from Cat to the honeysuckle that twined across the porch. Honeysuckle for Mother. Honeysuckle is a blossom, a bloom that comes along right about Mother's Day. It smells so good. What do you think they're going to do? There's that big, big cat there. My goodness. Inside the cottage, someone was playing a tune. The tune was Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Dum-dee, dum-dee, dum-dee-da. Dum-dee, dum-dee, dum-dee-da. Maybe Cat likes to lie in the sun and listen to music, Little Mouse thought. Maybe the person will stop playing soon and Cat will go away. He sniffed the honeysuckle air and pretended not to see Big Mouse check the time. Dum-dee, dum-dee, dum-dee-da. That person is not going to stop playing, Middle muttered. He set his strawberry on the ground and a beetle came on the run. See the beetle? Middle picked it up again and shooed the beetle away. He didn't want to share his strawberry. Little Mouse began creeping toward the cottage on his belly. Biggest yanked him back by the tail. Stop that! Anyway, it's time to go. What if Mother wakes up on Mother's Day and all her little mice are missing? Or eaten, Middle added. We have to go, Biggest said. I'm sorry, Little Mouse. But inside Little Mouse's head, something had started to beat. Something wonderful that was the beginning of an idea. Something better than honeysuckle. It's all right, said Little Mouse. Wonder what he's got in his mind. What idea could he have? The sun made a pink path across the meadow as they ran for home. Bring her a daisy, Biggest said over his shoulder. She likes daisies. Bring her a rock, Middle puffed. A small rock that's not too hard to carry. They're nice, Little Mouse said, but they're not special enough for this special day. He had something special, though. He had it strong and firm in his mind when they got home. Biggest stood the fluff ball in a jar beside Mother's chair. Middle put the strawberry on a blue dish on the table. I'm glad I didn't roll it, he said. Sometimes I wanted to, but I carried it all the way and it isn't even squished. He glanced sideways at Little Mouse. The strawberry can be from you too, Little Mouse. And the fluff ball will be from both of us, Biggest said. Little Mouse smiled. Thank you, but I brought something of my own. He thought it was funny when his brothers looked all around and then rolled their eyes at each other. Something I kept hidden, he said. Biggest Mouse held up a warning paw. Shh! Mother's coming! Happy Mother's Day! They all shouted when she came into the kitchen. And Mother said, why, you remembered. Remembered? We almost got eaten Middle began, but Biggest poked him hard. Sometimes Middle talked too much. Mother blew on the puffball, and it exploded into a million beautiful feathery seeds. Did you make a wish? Biggest Mouse asked. Yes, a wonderful wish. Mother cut the strawberry in 4 pieces. I love strawberries, she said. The first ones taste of summer coming. She nibbled on an edge of berry and closed her eyes, and Little Mouse knew she was tasting sunshine and sweet corn and the cold waters of Meadow Stream. Now me, he said. He was so excited he thought he might explode like the fluff ball into a million pieces. The music he'd heard at Honeysuckle Cottage was loud in his mind, and he clasped his paws and began to sing. He sang the words he thought of as they ran home. We have brought a song to say, happy, happy Mother's Day. No one's mother is so nice. Love from all your little mice. That was wonderful, Mother said when he finished. How astonished his brothers were. They'd thought he had nothing, and all the time he'd had this. Was it better than honeysuckle? Little Mouse asked. Much better, Mother said. Honeysuckle doesn't last forever. A song does. Was it the best of all your surprises? As soon as he asked that, Little Mouse felt mean. The song is from all of us, he added quickly. Mother smiled. All my surprises were lovely. You each brought me something different, and you each brought me something the same. Do you know what that was, Little Mouse? Little Mouse knew. They'd brought her their love. Mother opened her arms wide, and they ran to her. Let's sing Little Mouse's song, she said. Mother and her 3 little mice swayed together as they sang, and the kitchen was warm with wishes and summer coming and music and love. The end. Wasn't that a wonderful story about the little mice who were preparing for Mother's Day? I bet you are all preparing like little mice for Mother's Day too. I'm thinking about ways you can show your mom that you love her, because I know you do. You've all got amazing moms. So that's our story for today. I hope you loved it. I'll talk to you soon, kindergarten. Bye.